At a certain point in League, people don't care what their score is or if they go up or down.
Let's get this whole green bread, guys.
That's true. For him, it was a win-win either way. By the way, just to spoil what happens for you, the guy goes. The guy goes through the motions. It's just him playing League, and then for the last 3 minutes, he just kind of like pushes his computer away and goes, "Whoo!" as he's getting blown, and then.
Wait, guys, we're live.
Oh, okay.
We're live?
We've been live.
Are ready to get this whole green bread, fellas? Alright.
We're ready for the.
Alright,
Give me
Don.
1 sec. I'm just gonna grab the stream link. And send it.
I'd do anything for an A.
Real quick, don't do anything with the table, including setting things on it and putting.
What if I have to use the
because
bathroom
mic
in the
picks
middle
up
of my
more.
presentation?
Okay.
So I'm not trying to limit like what I do.
Good to know, good to know.
Alright.
We are live though, so Dawn,
Hey.
whenever you're ready.
Alright, gamers, let's rise up. Well.
Yeah! Rise up! This is why we invited you, Don.
Alright, so this is what I call a little presentation. We will be talking about the Stuart Little trilogy today.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, trilogy. Bet you didn't know that. I don't know if you guys knew, but it's actually... Fuck.
Just hit the button. Wow, what a terrible teacher.
Well, Stuart Little is actually based on a 1945 book by E.B. White. And
I didn't fucking know that.
yes, and
Oh, wait, is that the person who wrote like Charlotte's Web?
yes,
Was E.B. White old enough to be racist and it was okay?
yes,
Oh.
yeah. So who could possibly produce this behemoth of a movie, right? Like just in your little brains, think of all the producers possible that could produce something of this quality. So we have
Dan Schneider.
Douglas Wick,
Okay.
who many people know to produce Ridley Scott's Gladiator. So yeah.
What the fuck?
So with Douglas Wick, he knew he had to recruit, to make this movie a thing, he needed to recruit Rob Minkoff, who is
What the fuck?
co-director of The Lion King, by the way.
What?
Yeah. As you know, he's the director, but they still need someone to actually write the film. So they got The Last Airbenders' very own M. Night Shyamalan to write the screenplay of Story
I
Little.
really like the imagery pick.
Wait, M. Night Shyamalan directed Stuart Little?
Wrote it,
He wrote
screenplay.
the
Screenplay.
Oh my God.
So is there like a 3/4 way through plot twist?
No, there is.
Yes, actually there is.
Yeah, Stuart
Yeah.
turns out to be human the whole time.
Hey, we're actually that is one of my theories, which we'll go back on.
No!
Yes, just watch. So with this movie, it actually came out in 1999 and is actually by far the most well-animated Stuart Little of the three, which I will go into. But it is also the third movie is not canon in my opinion. So in Stuart Little, this is his origin story, right? The book by E.B. White that was written in 1945 actually only goes over the events of the second movie. So this is M. Night Shyamalan's own brainchild of a movie. It's the Stuart Little origin story. So, and I consider it canon because it is directed by Rob Minkoff. So is the second one. Yes, Chris.
Mr. Don, what actor plays like the asshole cat in the first Stuart Little movie?
He plays them in both canonical movies, and his name will be revealed in a bit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can I interject?
Yes.
That I had a cat for like 17 years that we named Snowbell. because
Really?
of the cat in this movie because she looked just like him.
Whoa. Well, I don't call him Snow.
So
I don't.
have an emotional connection to this.
I don't call him Snowbell. That's his slave name. So, get it?
That's very true. It's true.
Alright, we'll try to be more sensitive.
So
next time.
the we first start off in the movie with Eleanor, Frederick,
Yo, the
and
little vampire.
the kid from the Little
Yo,
Vampire.
little
Yeah,
vampire.
George. Yeah. So it starts off with Eleanor and Frederick Frederick is incompetent and can't give it up.
Can't get it up in the morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they go to an orphanage. Who is the orphanage leader or the person in charge? I guess.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Wait.
Tallest orphan of all.
Real quick, I'd like to point out two things. The guy, Mr. Don said the person who runs the orphanage is the orphanage leader.
And the largest orphan ever.
Where he has dominance, he gets to mate with the female orphans.
To create more orphans.
Oh my god. And the other thing, instead of saying he's infertile, he said he's incompetent. And I just imagine he's...
Instead of impotent?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just imagine he would try to get his dick in, and then he would like trip over like a bucket. Yeah, exactly.
Like
He's
a
like,
logistical
whoa.
Sorry, honey, this is just too hard for me.
Yeah, impotent. Yeah. But anyways,
You still have the big orphans number?
So George is like, I want a little brother or a big brother or something. Yeah, he wants a big brother, not even a little brother.
Oh, so that's why they can't conceive the child. They have to adopt because obviously they can't just create an older brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So is Stuart Little older than George?
Yes.
In rat years or in human years?
Yeah, I will get into that. You will see.
Oh my god.
I will. You will
Every
see.
question you have, you say you'll get into it. I'm
will.
So impressed.
So they go to the orphanage and meet Mrs. Keeper, and they meet Stuart, who is like super charming and stuff. They're like, we're gonna adopt you, and then they adopt him obviously, and they bring him home.
Oh, spoilers.
And
I'm
I'm just kind of quick rundown. And George comes home from school. He's like, I have a brother now, and they're like, yeah. And they show Stuart. And he's like, you're not my brother, which is totally right, by the way, because he's a mouse and he should be pissed. So Stuart gets super depressed, and like he's in this like big bed, but he's like a super tiny mouse, right? So it's like a visual gag that he's in bed, and it pans out, and he's just this tiny mouse in a bed, and then the mom gives him a goodnight kiss. So in the morning, he kind of copies his brother, takes off his clothes, and throws it on the washing machine, and George actually closes the washing machine door, and Stuart Little almost dies.
Whoa.
Yeah, almost dies, almost drowns to death, right? Like
It's
Is
kind of
this
heavy.
considered the darkest installment in the franchise?
he actually has multiple. No, the second movie he actually has more near death experiences. So, and then he meets Snowbell, the cat, who is voiced by Nathan Lane. And
Nathan Lane.
Yeah, and you guys may know him as the voice of this guy from Lion King, Timbo. Timon. And Timon's like,
They're like in sync with each other.
Hey.
It's really getting into
And-
Timon's character.
yeah, Timon, because I don't call him Timon, I call him Timon. Timon is like, you're a mouse and I'm a cat. You're not my master. So Timon is all upset. It's like, this is not okay. And then goes to get his to like meet a mob boss to say, what can I do about this mouse that is a part of this family? And then they said, we'll take care of it. But they don't really go into it till like the later act of the movie. So obviously the actual plot, that this is the subplot, right? To kill him or whatever. Yes, Chris?
Mr. Don, you said they go to a mob boss.
Yes.
The mob boss.
A cat. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Second follow-up question.
Yes.
Stuart Little can talk to humans, right?
I will get into it.
But-
I will get into Snowball cannot communicate with humans, and this goes into one of my theories I have, which we will go over during the second movie.
Oh, okay.
So when you say that he went to the cat mob boss, does that mean that it is a regular mob that is headed by a cat?
No,
Or is it
they're
a
all-
mob that is exclusively comprised of
They're
cats?
all alley cats. They actually they're discriminatory towards Timon.
Oh, I mean,
and-
domesticated.
Yeah,
Is
'cause
it
he's
any
domesticated.
related to the musical Cats?
No.
Because it could be.
It could be, but it's
Excellent
not.
point, Sam.
So, what happens is, hold on, let me. So, the whole plot of the story right now is for Stuart to fit in and his brother to love him because he's part of the family now. So what happens is he tries to connect with him. Stuart Little almost dies again and like falls in the basement on top of of George's like play table.
Through an air vent or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow,
And
he
then
really almost dies a lot.
he does a lot. And then they like bond because like they play trains and like Stuart pretends he's getting run over by the train. And George is like, this is epic, and it's like controlling the train, and he almost dies.
Wait, so is
Kinda.
the M. Night Shyamalan twist 3/4 of the way through is that Stuart actually died in the first near-death experience?
Oh no.
No.
And then Stuart noticed that a boat is almost done being made, and Stuart's like, what is this? And George is like, that's a boat, and they need to finish this boat to use it in the boat race to beat this rich kid. That's
An RC boat, right?
yeah.
Also.
So they this is them.
Oh my God! It is Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
Wait, it actually, I thought you put that as a
That's
joke.
just-
No.
House.
Look
That's
at him.
Dr. House.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was not joking. Anyways,
Oh my God.
so they go to the boat race, and the rich kid's like, I'm rich and you're not, and like crashes his boat into George's boat, and then the boat is no longer can be used with the remote because it malfunction. So Stuart jumps on top of the boat and controls it manually and wins the race.
Almost
A
died.
tale
Almost
as old-
dies.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah. And
Song as
now,
old as rhyme.
because Stuart is won the race, he and George are finally connected, and they're brothers. They have that brotherly bond now. But remember how I said the mob boss was gonna take care of Stuart?
Yeah.
Take care of him. So then these two fellas
There's more?
join the party.
Holy
It's
fuck.
Camille and
Oh
Reginald.
my goodness. Is there a Rule 34 that exists of Camille and Reginald's Lil?
Don't say that, please.
So
Do you know?
So-
Mr. Don, I have a question.
yes,
Do we get
yes.
extra
yes,
credit
sir.
if we draw Rule 34 of Camille and
I
Reginald?
have the floor, I believe.
Yeah, of course.
He raised his fucking hand.
What the fuck happened to Camille's teeth? Do we ever get to figure that out?
Oh no, she's just constantly in this pose, right?
Okay.
But anyway, so the Reginald and Camille come to the store, the little house. It's actually called the Little House. Like every little can find the Little House. That's like a big thing about this movie. Is like the dad is always like every little can find the Little House.
What the fuck?
It's
Wouldn't it be easier if it was a large house?
it's actually.
Oh my god.
I got him. I got him.
Oh my
So-
throat.
So Camille and Reginald, they're like, this is our son, give him over. So without any like evidence, they're just like, these are two mouse. He's a mouse. Here
Two
you
mouse.
go. We have to give him up. Those are his real parents, supposedly. Supposedly. And then George, being he's losing his brother that he just got, gives him his the epic red convertible that we've been all dying to see for
Oh man.
that was on like the movie posters as a sign of brotherly love, right?
Mr. Don?
Yes.
Does Stuart have his license to drive in this movie, or does he get that later on?
Uh, That is actually an answer that is not I don't have. It was not in the books. It's not in the canon. It's a
Okay.
toy car. It's his
Do you have
roadster.
any idea about like what type of what the legality about toy cars being driven like is? Is that okay? Could I potentially go out and drive my own?
I actually think so. Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Mr. Donwee?
Yeah.
Mr.
What's up?
Donwee?
What's bracket?
So is Stuart Little really a commentary on how like a nuclear American capitalist society like prefers commodities and uses them as a shorthand for affection and emotional connection instead of genuine familial like bonds and strength, as symbolized by Stuart Little's bold red convertible, the RC race, which he artificially used to win his skeptical younger brother's love over, and how the mob has like a dominant force in this society.
Yes.
Very interesting. Thank you.
No problem. So, now that Stuart Little is now gone from the family, and they're all super depressed, right? And Stuart goes with his new family. They live in a golf course castle, like a mini golf course castle.
What a downgrade.
Yeah, what a downgrade.
Wow.
And
But it is a littler house than the little
exactly.
house. Okay.
And Stuart is super depressed, and then Reginald and Camille actually end up falling in love with their new son, and they're like, we're not actually your parents, Stuart. The mob was gonna kill us if we didn't pretend to be your family.
Ooh.
So you know what plot intervenes with plot A?
The B plot.
The B plot to what's his name?
Timon.
Timon is the antagonist of the film right now, and Camille and Reginald are like, Stuart, you got to go back to your family. So Stuart takes the little red convertible and drives all the way back because any little can find the little house.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know, but
Is it an act of God?
yeah. So-
Mr. Nguyen?
yeah.
Is God a mouse in this universe?
I will get into that. So all the gangster cats all show up randomly and they're like, "You're Stuart, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they chase him, and then Stuart is like in a little high speed chase where he's in his little red convertible and he's getting chased by cats, and then he ends up in the sewer, like in Ratatouille.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Thematic connections.
Exactly.
And
So-
that makes it also the same universe as Up, because in Ratatouille, Doug had a cameo in Ratatouille.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Yep. So that's why the dog can talk and Up, and it all connects.
Oh my God.
And in Up, Lotso cameoed, so making Toy Story also canonical in the Stuart Little universe.
Exactly.
So
Stuart Little's car can talk!
Yeah.
Little's car is in Toy Story 4.
Stuart Little's car is actually the prototype for Cars.
So, Stuart loses the cats, finds his home, and Tabone is home. Is like
Get to
is like how the little family is super depressed, and they're like,
They're feeling a little down.
they're feeling a little down.
Because they're a little down, because there's one less
Yeah.
little.
And-
Oh!
and,
Wow!
and the orphanage leader actually comes back and goes to the little house and tells them that wasn't Stuart's real parents. His real parents died because a can of beans fell over on them in the grocery store. By the way, that is the canonical death. Yeah, that is the canonical
It's
death.
on screen?
No, it's not on screen,
Oh, okay.
but the orphanage person is like, yeah, a can of beans. Unfortunate. So they place a
That's the way
but.
they phrase it?
Yes.
Sounds pretty open-ended for a sequel.
Yeah, and then but then they place a bunch of flyers of Stuart being lost, but they only had this photo. So in the photo, they cut out his head and put on flyers. So when Stuart comes home, he just sees his photo with his head gone, and Tabone is like, they don't love you anymore. See how they cut your head off the picture?
Whoa!
That's
Who wrote this?
M-
This really sounds like M. Night Shyamalan style.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting into like pictures.
Yeah.
Misunderstandings.
And Timon is like, get out of here. We don't want you. No one wants you. Your fake parents don't want you. And then he gets super depressed and then goes to a tree and just sits there and is sad. But then Snowbell or Tabone is like very, very like guilt ridden for some, like out of nowhere, right? Just like there was no tension building up that he was like a nice cat. He just like, I feel bad and I'm gonna bring you back home, Stuart, because you're not my master. We're family. Yeah. So Tabone rescues Stuart from the rest of the gangster cats, and they come home and they're a big happy family again. That is the end of Stuart Little 1.
Ooh.
Yeah. But this is where all your answers get questioned, is the second film.
Wait, all our answers get questioned?
Yes!
Yes.
Shut up!
All your
Jesus Christ!
all your questions get
Before we start
Yeah.
Stuart Little 2,
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that it's Stuart Little.
No, it's Stuart.
No, you've been saying Stort.
No, Stuart.
And he's the teacher.
I
I wonder who's correct.
So he's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Stuart Little.
That's right.
Stuart. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter.
No,
It's
Don is right. He's the teacher. Go.
So-
Wait, why did you have this?
Okay. So next is the second movie, Stuart Little 2.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so far. I love his helmet. Oh, God.
And
Yo, hang on, bro.
and this movie, made in 2002, we bring back producer and director.
Thank
Eccleswick and
And
Rodney
but-
It'd be the same.
But unfortunately, M. Night Shyamalan could not come back for the screenplay.
Oh.
So we get Bruce Joel Rubin,
Some fuckboy.
who wrote the screenplay for Ghost, which was nominated for Best Picture in 1990, was the highest grossest film of 1990,
Oh,
and he also got an Oscar for Best Screenplay for Ghost.
For
So
Stuart Little too?
no, for Ghost. Yes, Chris.
Mr. Nguyen, I don't like Ghost, but my mom likes Ghost because it came out in the 90s, and her favorite line from the movie is Whoopi Goldberg saying, "Mommy, you in danger, girl."
Thank you, Chris.
So we get a returning cast too of Eleanor, Frederick, George, the little vampire, and Nathan Lane as Snowbell or Timon. And we're also, it turns out he was not impotent. It got him on, and now there's Martha Little.
Whoa!
Yeah.
His dick worked.
Yeah. So the movie starts off with a soccer game where Stuart Little is playing soccer on the team, but when the kids get injured, so him being tiny, they're like, whatever, let's bring it, because he's always on the bench. They bring him in, but then George kicks the winning ball, which also hits Stuart Little, and they win the game. But all things that happened in the first movie, it's like it disappeared. I don't know why, but their relationship is strained again. George doesn't give his older brother the respect that he deserves. By the way, in the movie, instead of walking to class, he has his red convertible at school and drives around all the other students, by the way.
Is it in like a kooky little like students almost trip over him or step on him and they're like, whoa, and he's like, sorry.
Yeah,
I can picture it perfectly.
Jason, have you watched this movie?
No, do you need to? Did you see the fucking cover art? Do you need to? Look at the like Watch Mojo thumbnail. What do you think this movie is?
Oh, wait, yeah, he gets a skateboard at one point.
Oh,
Where
yeah,
does
yeah.
the girl character come in?
Yeah, Margalo. We're coming up there. So
So there's two new girl characters?
you'll see.
Fuck yes.
So the brother relationship's completely gone. He doesn't treat respect, and Stuart's just super depressed and is driving home from school in his little red convertible.
That's
And
hilarious and sad.
and that so we get Margalo, who can talk to humans, by the way.
Yes.
What?
Yes, voiced by Melanie Griffith, Global, what is it? Golden Globe, whatever. She has a Golden Globe, and we're also okay. And then she's a cutie, right? But then she drops and she
fuck that bird.
she just drops in his red convertible out of the sky. And Stuart's like, whoa! And then there's a falcon chasing them. And she's like, get away from the falcon! And the falcon's like, come back here. Who's voiced by James Wood, who you may know as Hades from the Disney movie Hercules.
I love that guy!
And James Wood from Family Guy.
I don't like that.
Mr. Nguyen, did you just put that photo in because when you Google imaged the actor's name?
He was in
Yeah.
Family Guy. I was like, ooh. So you may know him from these roles. So they're in a wacky Falcon red convertible car
Is this
chase.
in school?
No, he was driving home from school,
Okay.
Oh yeah, good question.
and they lose him. They lose the Falcon, but turns out Margalo's wing was injured, and she needs a place to stay for a bit.
Well,
And
she's not a little, so she can't stay in a little house.
but
So she has to stay in Stuart's bed.
yeah. But so they're like,
Could be a
wow,
birdhouse.
you're a bird that can talk. We'll definitely take care of you for a bit until you get good to go.
He's gonna get his
So-
mouse stick inside that
yeah, so-
cloaca.
Hey, not so fast.
I'd put
So
my
you,
finger inside
not so
that
fast.
finger.
Hey,
Whoa.
class. So you may be wondering right now, why can she talk, but the cat can't, and the falcon can't, but Stuart and Margalo can? Because according to, this is canon, according to the books, they get super close, by the way, as you can tell by the Fandango HD.
Sorry about No Fat November, Chris.
And you may be
Also
wondering, how can they talk? How can they fall in love when they're not even the same species? Wrong! Because they are the same species. They're all human! In the book, he is actually a human. He just looks like a mouse, and it's just super small.
What? Oh
He was
my
born
God.
to human parents and just looks like a mouse. He is 100% human, and I theorize.
Wait, so there's no abstraction in the book. He literally just looks identical to a mouse.
Yes.
But he is a human.
Yes.
As is the bird.
That's my theory. They don't
Oh.
say because
Oh.
they can talk to humans, but Falcon and Snowball can't because they're actually cats and falcons. Stuart is a human being. So is the bird. That's why they can fall in love. It's because they're human.
Oh my god. Wait, what? Mr. Dunn, Mr. Dunn, I got a question.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn, I have a lot of questions.
How? Okay, Mr. Dunn,
Yeah.
please address me by name.
Chris Simmons
Well, you didn't need it. All right, now that's on the internet.
from Elk Grove, California.
Oh my god, please.
Went to Sheldon High School.
I did. Why? So if there's human, how can they still talk to animals?
They can't because actually, if you think, okay, so my theory is that if you look like an animal,
No.
if you look like an animal, you can talk to animals.
Animals
Is
trust you.
Stuart Little,
Exactly,
is
exactly.
Stuart Little the next step in human evolution?
Yeah. I mean, have you driven a red convertible at school?
No.
What, don't you want to?
Dude, he's in like the 8th grade. He's gonna get so much pussy.
By the way, Stuart Little, according to canon, in 7 rat years is the age of a 16-year-old boy. So he is 16. So he's super legal at this point. And so this is okay.
Chasing his tail.
This is okay. They are both humans. As much as they look like a rat.
I put my pecker in her pecker, in that pecker. Bird.
So
Said that joke.
so as the story goes on and they get closer and closer, Margalo one day disappears and it's revealed that she's actually working under Falcon
I knew it.
to steal the mom's wedding ring. It's not explained why the Falcon wants the wedding ring. He just likes jewelry, I guess. So Timon and Stuart go on adventures like, we need to find Margalo because I'm in love and she's my friend and we're family. And then they find them, and then Falcon's like, sorry, she was working for me. And she's like, I'm sorry, Stuart, you really are my friend. And then he's heartbroken, and then he's like, come home with me then. We're family. And then Falcon, voiced by James Wood, is like, no, and then picks up Stuart by his head with his claw and like drops him off like the highest building of like New York, and he falls in like a garbage truck instead of just dying, right? Because we can't just end the movie there. Exactly. And I forgot to mention before there's this, after the soccer game in the beginning, you know the plane that we saw earlier in one of those images that I skipped over. He
The Lego plane set.
the Lego plane set, yeah. He actually, him and his brother were building the plane, and then he crashed the plane. But then, that's why their relationship just got worse and worse.
Oh.
Yeah, and then George is like, I hate you! Again, just like the first meme, throws the plane in a trash can. So Stuart falling in the garbage truck and ends up in a dumpster, finds the plane, and rebuilds it with the parts from the garbage, and goes after Falcon to save Margalo. And they have an epic fight that you can be on YouTube. Stuart Little versus the Falcon.
Oh, fuck.
And in the fight, Margalo realized that she was with family the whole time. Falcon was just using her. So he uses the wedding ring to blind Falcon's eye, and then yeets off the plane, and the plane hits Falcon, as you can see. Yeah, as you can see, Falcon is dying, and then Falcon and then that's it. He dies, and then yeah, he dies. He's dead. He falls in a trash can, and then a bunch of like a gangster cat from the first movie eats him or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
But then at the end, Margalo, they return their wedding ring and stuff, and they hug, and they're like, I'll see you soon, because Margalo sees a bunch of birds that are, like, migrating, and she's like, I gotta go with them. Even though she's a human, it makes no sense, but it leaves open for the sequel. But, obviously, Stuart Little 2, by the way, was the most critically acclaimed, rocking a high score around the 80s on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. Yeah.
Sequels always perform better.
So, yeah, and the DVD TV special or whatever, Stuart Little 3 Call of the Wild, was released in 2005, 3 years later, which is not based on the events of the books, by the way. And I need to tell you, Stuart Little 1 was an original story by M. Night Shyamalan. Stuart Little 2 was actually based on the book. But after... Yes?
Was the plot twist of, like, I was working with the Falcon all along also in the books?
They use Margalo in a few events like that in the book. In the book, Snowball is actually the main antagonist of the book, and like gets her, instead of getting the gangster to get up Camille and the other guy Reginald to kidnap Stuart, fucking whatchamacall, Snowbell is like, I want to eat this mouse and bird, but I'm part of this family, so you have to eat them instead. So Stuart is like, Margalo, run away, and she flies away, and then, so I theorize that kind of like mirrors the end of Stuart Little 2, and they were originally gonna do, you know, the later parts of the book as the third movie, but they didn't have the budget. In Stuart Little 3, it's not directed by the same people. I don't consider it canon. I don't think it's part of the universe at all. It's a side story, is what it is, and it's the most poorly animated one of them all, even though it came out the later years. Yes.
Is Stuart Little 3 Call of the Wild just Stuart taking a piss for like 90 minutes?
No. Okay. So.
I wish.
In this side story, it goes off of the timeline of the Rob Minkoff movies. This actually is set before the second movie according to the wiki, but I don't consider it canon again. And we're introduced to Rico. Yeah, Rico. That's his name. So they go to summer camp, right? They go to like a lake and they join like the Boy Scouts. And Stuart, being a small little rat mouse boy thing, is like outcasted, and he just wants the golden handkerchief chief. And then he meets Rico, the skunk, who is voiced by Wayne Brady, who you may know as the chocolate squirrel from Food Fight.
But also from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
A much more famous role than the squirrel from Food Fight.
Well, I mean, he's also.
And we're also introduced to the antagonist of the third film. By the way, it's not canon. To the Beast, who's voiced by Tara Strong.
Oh shit, Tara Strong.
Yeah, and in this movie, they just kind of like Rico is whatever is like it makes a deal with the Beast, and it's like, the Beast, I'm gonna eat Snowbell, and Stuart's like, you can't do that, he's family, and they set a trap for him. It doesn't work, and then Stuart and Snowbell are like trapped, and Rico has to save the day. So you know what he does? He does this.
Yeah.
And defeats the bad guy.
So it's 3D?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Riku it does a battle cry, and this is, you can find the video where he does this on YouTube. It's called Rico Blast.
Have you seen the entirety of Stuart Little 3?
Yes.
What? He has a degree.
Rico Blast. That is what an epic YouTuber dubbed this name of the attack, and I'm just gonna go with it. But again, it's not canon. Yes, Chris?
I don't like anything about this image. I don't like anything.
No, but then the movie ends, and then the dad, who's like the leader of the Boy Scouts, gives like Stuart like a pity golden handkerchief, and he's like, "Yeah, I did it." And that's the end of Stuart Little 3.
So is the relationship between Stuart Little and his older brother still strained again?
Yeah, it's super weird. They just got rid of that, and they don't care anymore. But in the books, what happened after Margalo left was that Stuart went after her and went to Connecticut on his little red convertible, and meets a girl who is the same size as him, but looks like a human girl, by the way. So she's a super tiny, like 4-inch human girl, and they go on a date, but on like a boat. They're on like a boat together, but the boat breaks, and he gets all like pissy, and she's like, "I don't like you because you're mad that this boat broke." And then Stuart's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go chase after my one true love, Margalo."
What the?
And
Right.
and that's like the end of the book. That's it. That's it.
That's the end of the book?
That's the end of the book. But I can see why they didn't continue with the third film to go based off the books, because they didn't have enough material.
Yeah.
But a reboot is in the works that is going to be completely faithful to the books.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Even like the weird ending part?
Yeah.
The weird ending.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the part where it's just like, man, I'm gonna go follow Margot. Just kidding. I'm gonna date a 4-inch tall human girl. Then we're gonna have like a kind of like weird teenage breaking off kind of moment. And then I'm gonna be like, maybe I should.
How many views do we have?
Date the woman I
That is
wanted
epic.
to go after.
I'm having him open chat and then zoom into a ridiculous amount so we can read it from here.
So,
Awesome.
So,
You can open pop-out chat.
So-
Yes, Mr. Lane.
so those were the events of Story Little 1 and 2, which I consider canon, and I do take what the book says about him actually just being human, and I put that theory into effect with Margolo. I don't think the third movie is canon, but I do hope the sequel, stays truthful to, the book.
Don, we have a question from the viewers.
What's up?
Do we know how Stuart became a mouse from human?
No, he was just born that way.
He just is.
He just is. As you can see, he was just born that way. Looked very much like a rat/mouse in every way, born from human parents.
Does that mean every way, Mr. Don?
Every way.
Yeah.
So we know why
Are there
that
rats that are born humans?
maybe.
Otherkin?
Wait,
Oh.
so is the mouse that played Stuart Little technically the most talented dwarf actor alive? Is he alive?
He's
We're
actually.
gonna get to
By the
Dwarf,
way, I
right?
didn't know if you guys knew, but the voice of Stuart is Michael J. Fox,
What?
Marty McFly.
Did you know that his original last name was Fuchs? And then he changed it?
Yeah.
That's your last name.
So we have
Oh.
so in the Stuart Little universe, what I call this the little verse.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I consider Stuart Little 1 to be a faithful origin story that does, stay true to the book's themes and stuff. M. Night Shyamalan did a good job. These guys did their thing. The second movie was just as good, but then they just kind of... I don't understand the third movie. I just don't understand why they would, not follow the books.
Why would they ruin this perfect
Exactly.
series already?
Exactly.
Mr. Don,
Yeah.
do you have any words you would like to say directly to Rob Minkoff or Douglas Wing?
I just
yourself?
would like to appreciate everything. Just everything. There's no words. Just as
What can you say other than thank you?
as a gamer, I just want to say thanks. I just see. I'm crying.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Are there any other Stuart Little fan theories we have not covered yet?
In the first movie, he wears a number of outfits, like a lot. He's a snazzy little boy that looks like a rat. But in the second movie, as the animation goes down, but the quality in the movie goes up, he wears less clothes.
Yeah.
So, as
Was this fan service?
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Because in the third movie, he only wears one outfit. Really, it's his scout outfit. But the movie is at the lowest it has been in the trilogy. So, as we know, a reboot is in the works, and we just gotta wait.
Is it made by Illumination Animation?
No, it's gonna be made by Sony. I'm pretty
Oh.
sure. Sony actually did these 3 movies.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Mr. Don?
Yeah.
Didn't Sony also do the Emoji Movie?
Yes, but
Mr. Don, just as Emoji Movie was one of the first feature films ever to be publicly broadcasted in Saudi Arabia, do you think that the Stuart Little 4 will be, because it will be one of the earlier films, Western films in Saudi Arabia, due to Sony Animation's connection to the country, do you think that will have an influence over the Middle East and its culture going forward?
well, as long as they don't, have the plane scene. There's a little too. adapted. I think they'll be good to go.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Don.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's end on that high note.
God.
We're going to be taking.
Emoji movie's real, by the way.
We're gonna. We're gonna take a little break here before we continue.
I told you I was gonna